Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mongoose Traveler Core Rulebook Update 2022. We're now going to finish our character creation by going through all of our post-career training and we did the aging already, post-career training, all that stuff, to finally get into the actual game. So this is it. This is the last hurdle. Let's get through it, and then we'll get to the game. Stick around.
Woo. The best tabletop RPG groups follow these core values to respect the campaign setting, the game, and the people at the table. Refer to the URL in the video's description to donate to the charity we support, the Wounded Warrior Project. Sunday on Rumble and YouTube, we provide tabletop RPG game, system, and setting overviews. Then on Friday, a panel of guests editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Thursdays and Saturdays are when Heathen Dog leads his Dirty Casuals video game squad on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth. Please like and share this video with your friends and on social media, and subscribe to Legion of Myth for more tabletop RPG content. Okay, before you start, I gotta address these two things.
What?
Second is way easier to read than first, which reads like an engineering manual. The
That's
URL.
better.
Yeah, I want my rule book to be stereo instructions.
Yes.
That's what they should be.
It should be the facts, just the facts.
Exactly.
And a beautiful index and table of contents. That's what I'm looking for.
You can mix fluff around it, but not in it.
Exactly. Yes. All of your supplemental books can have all the frou-frou crap you want, but the core book should be just laser focused on teaching you the game.
Exactly. Yes. And then this one, I'll let you answer it.
Did you bother to fix the stuff you got wrong? No. No. Doesn't matter. Everyone will do it in the comments, and all you guys have been great telling me where I went wrong in the comments. That's awesome. So I'm not going to redo a whole, hours and hours of video just to fix 2, 3, 4 mistakes.
Yeah, by the way, this is a live stream. This isn't a tutorial. If we want to do a tutorial video, like I have some tutorials out there, not for Traveler.
They are recorded.
And yeah, they're pre-recorded. They step-by-step character creation for this game, character creation for that game, or whatever. These live streams are to introduce the game /book whatever to you, and you make your own decision from there. We're just talking it over is all it is. Now, the overviews that I do, or one of us does in the second segment, that's a little bit more on point, but we are just reading the book and then talking about it. That's what the read-throughs are.
Yep. All right, so let's get to post-career education. All right. Once a traveler leaves their career and begins to wander the stars, he will have every opportunity for adventure and excitement. That's good. I like adventure and excitement. All these possibilities may leave the traveler thinking he is not adequately prepared for this life, and the idea of continuing his education may come to mind. Education in the far future is accessible to everyone and ranges from finding teachers in remote star systems who grant secret knowledge, the old man on top of the mountain type thing, to a plethora of distance learning courses that travelers can diligently follow to increase their skills and abilities. This is all handled by training, which gives a traveler the opportunity to increase existing skills and learn new ones. Oh, well, that's good, because you have you start off with a lot of zeros and ones, right? Mm-hmm. So see if we can get some ones and twos.
There's a trend from Travelers players, and remember, I haven't played, that I've talked to a lot, where they talk about, your character, you don't get experience. The experience of playing the game is you get money, and you have experiences as the player, and that kind of grows the character, blah, blah, blah. It's not like a traditional game of just getting experience and leveling up your skills. But what they'll always finish with is, but you can get skills in the game. There are ways to educate yourself, but you actually have to force yourself to do it.
Yeah, we're going to find out how to do that. In order to train for a new skill or improve an existing one, a traveler must commit to a study period. A study period is equal to 8 weeks, 2 months, of study and practice. These weeks within a study period need not be consecutive, but each week must be fully dedicated to study, with at least 8 hours per day spent learning and practicing. Okay.
Cool.
No. This is actually good. It's not a long time.
That's
2 months is not a long time. And you only have to
annex classes.
Yeah, you only have to do it in week chunks, 1 week long chunks. So,
but I want to hang out with my friends.
No, you can easily do it during downtime. You know, your ship's being repaired or refitted or whatever. That takes time. Study. You know, there you go. If this cannot be achieved, if the traveler is interrupted on the third day of the week and must perform a task for a patron, for example, then any training performed that week is wasted. Oh, it sucks. Make a note every week of training that is completed. An area for this has been set aside in the traveler character sheet. Well, that's very kind of you. Once 8 weeks of training and learning have been accumulated over the length of the total time, a study period has been completed. At this point, the traveler must succeed at an average 8+ education check.
Ooh.
Success indicates travelers learned something. And if they were attempting to learn a brand new skill, they get it 0. They can now add that to their character sheet. Failure indicates the traveler has learned nothing new or useful and may try again after another successful study period, which is another 8 weeks.
Yeah.
To improve skills.
To be honest, to be completely honest, I do like that. In fact, I would think that as your skill got higher, it might have to take more time. But
yeah, that's common in a lot of games I've seen. The better you are, the harder it is to get better. But this one doesn't have that apparently. To improve skills to the next higher level, the traveler must accumulate a number of successful study periods. Oh, it is harder. Equal to the skill level they're trying to reach. For example, if a traveler has electronics computers 1 and was trying to learn electronics computers 2, this would require 2 successful study periods.
Okay, well, there we go. That answered that.
There you go. Answer that question. You went from 2 months to 4 months, and then 4 months to 6 months.
I'm perfectly good with
that.
Is
this. Fine. That is fine. That is absolutely fine. Many travelers take the opportunity of week-long jump travel to study. That's perfect. That's great. Learning new skills during what might otherwise be a dull journey. It is important to note that failing a study period does not necessarily mean the traveler has not understood the study materials, just that you failed to get anything useful out of them. A traveler failing their education check while studying science physics during jump travel, for example, might find the captain of the ship is constantly ordering them to clean the cargo deck. They might be distracted by a hobby or a new vid show, or they might just be spending their time sitting in their bunk eating sugary puff sandwiches while reading What Space Bike. Okay. Magazine when they should be studying. Okay, yeah. So it's not that you're stupid. It's that you don't have self-control, or there's some asshat who just keeps, breaking your study period, probably on purpose because he doesn't want to see you get better. Somebody needs to be spaced. Limitations.
Or he's bored because he's not studying anything.
There you go. Remember, your traveler may have a maximum number of skill levels equal to 3 times their combined intelligence and education score. If they already have this many skills after leaving a career, any additional skills may only be learned to level 0. So there is a total maximum of the number of skill points you can have. The only way to increase that is to increase your education, intelligence, or both.
I mean, that is a lot of skill points, though.
That is a lot of skill points. Yes. Exceptions. There are a number of exceptions that must be kept in mind when learning new skills. The jack of all trades skill, you have that. Skill may never be learned or improved. You have it. It was granted to you. It wasn't learned.
I was born with the ability to start worse.
There you go. The athletic skill may be learned or improved, but does not use education. Instead, use the appropriate physical characteristic. Any physical characteristics can be used to gain athletics 0. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
That makes sense.
And this is the prisoner. We're not going to worry about we already did careers. Skills. This is another thing that I put into character creation because we got a whole bunch of skills during character creation, but we don't know what they mean, really. So let's find out what they mean.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of people corrected me on that whole flyer thing last.
Yeah. Flyer is an aerospace vehicle, not a space vehicle. Yeah. Every traveler will acquire a variety of skills during creation and will indicate the task they perform well. If a traveler has no level in a skill, then they are untrained and will suffer a DM -3 when trying to use a skill. So it would be a 2D -3.
Yep.
That would suck. If a traveler has 0 in the skill, then they're competent. They just roll 2D and everything's fine. They do not get any bonus for the skill level, but at least they avoid that -3 penalty, which is pretty severe. If a traveler has 1 or more levels in a skill, 1, 2, and so on, they are trained in that skill, very well trained in that skill. Each skill represents several years of experience using that skill and grants a DM1 per level to all skill checks using that skill. A traveler with a level 2, 3 in a skill is skill professional in that field. Traveler with level 4 or 5 is probably both well respected and well known. So you get that 2D for your normal roll, but you get to add your rank in your skill. You have a 0, you're adding 0. Yeah, 1, add 1, 2, add 2, just like that. Specialties. Some skills have specialties, specialized, more focused forms of that skill. A traveler picks a specialty when they gain level 1 in a skill that has 2 or more specialties. For example, if they have engineer 0, allowing them to make engineer skill checks without unskill penalty, then they might gain level to engineer, would bring them engineer 1. For engineer, this choice, now you have to specialize, choice between jump drive, J drive, M drive, power plant, and life support.
X drive, baby.
X drive, yeah. If they choose J drive, they would record this on their character sheet as engineer parenthetical J drive 1. They would then make all engineer checks involving jump drives at DM 1, but would still make all other engineer checks at DM 0. In other words, with no penalty. A traveler can have multiple specialties in a skill. They might have engineer jump drive 1 and engineer power plant 2. They would therefore make checks related to jump drives to DM +1, related to power plants, DM +2, but all other engineering. Why is it so complicated? It seems overly complicated.
I think it's just the wording of it because it makes sense to me. It's
Yeah,
just
I
the wording
understand it. I get it. But a specialty, I believe the actual definition of the word means it's singular. If you have a specialty, it is a specialty. You specialize in one thing. So I don't think they're using the word correctly, number 1. And 2, why have several specialties all at different ranks? That's just.
I know some lawyers who have multiple specialties. So maybe, I don't know.
They're probably only known for one thing, though. That's their actual specialty. They say they have multiple. No, they're just trained in it. That's all. So I don't like this, but I understand it. I just don't like it.
Rules wise, I don't have a problem with it. The way it's written is a little clunky.
Okay. Task checks. Most actions undertaken by travelers do not require a skill check. A traveler does not have to make an athletics check to run through a forest or an electronics checks to access information from a ship's library. Some actions will require the traveler to have a particular skill, but will still not require a check. A traveler with Flyer 0, for example, can fly an aircraft under normal conditions without making a check. Okay, this whole thing, I can see it coming right now. It's all, do not make the characters roll unless you have to. Unless defeat or failure causes something bad to happen. The referee only call for checks when the travelers are in danger, it's a especially difficult task, travelers are under pressure of time, success or failure is especially important or interesting. That's it.
They could have summed that down. There should be 2. There's only 2 reasons to roll dice. The outcome is unknown, and that outcome is meaningful.
Yeah. Basically that. Yeah. Making checks. To make a check, travelers rolls 2d6 and includes any appropriate die modifiers. If the total is 8 or more, on an average difficulty success, you succeed. The most common forms of task checks are characteristic checks and skill checks.
Can we talk about that for just a second? The die roll, because we didn't really talk about that before. So I'm an old BattleTech guy, so 2d6 is great. If you're rank 0 and you have to roll an 8 or higher, that is less than 50%.
Yes.
Okay. Again, I'm not going to get the whole math of it or so forth. But as soon as you get rank 1, so you've gone through basic training, you got your high school diploma in it, your college annex, whatever. Now you got to go get some real world experience. Take your 2 months, et cetera, to learn more. Then now all of a sudden you get the +1. Well, now you only need a 7 or more, which 7 is the most common number to roll on 2d6.
Yes. So now it's average.
Right. Well, or depending on how you look at averages of 50-50s or whatever. So if you look at the rule before, which said, hey, as long as you've got a 0 in something, you can do it on a normal, everyday, common garden variety level. Great. When you roll, that 8 is not that high. That 8 is not that much of a problem, especially when you're talking 2d6 as a bell curve, because hard is 10. And when you get your +1 and so +2, really, it's not all that hard anymore. You build yourself into being able to do something epic. You grow yourself into being able to do something epic. And I gotta be honest, I like it. I at first I was like, ooh, 8, man, we're always trying to get 6s and 7s in BattleTech, but no, it makes sense because you're trying to improve your character more.
Right. I'll also think of it this way. You don't have to get rank 10 in any one skill. It's not necessary. If you want to have reliable successes for average difficulties, you can stop at 2 or 3 and you will have reliable success.
Yep.
So think of it that way. That opens up a whole new range of skills for you, because you don't need to get over 2 or 3 in any singular skill to rely on it. So you don't have to be the best. You just have to be good enough,
Mhm.
and then there you go. Characteristic checks. Traveler adds their characteristic DM. For example, when forcing open a sealed door on a derelict ship, a traveler would use their strength dice modifier. When balancing on a narrow beam, a traveler would use their dex dice modifier. When trying to endure a long trek through the desert, a traveler would use their endurance dice modifier. And intelligence, be puzzle box, whatever.
And if I remember correctly, my character's dex was like a 12 or a 10 or something crazy high like that.
Yeah,
So,
you got a +1. And
well,
you got a -1, a +1, and one of them was a +2. I think it was education.
I also have peg leg, so that
Well,
that
there's
brings the
that, yeah.
dex down a little. But
Well, no,
hey,
no,
I'm
no,
still pretty good on those beams.
no. You got a good synthetic leg. You're good to go. That was you got the characteristics back. When attempting to remember some trivia, it's education. When trying to impress a guard with their wealth or position, use your SOC. That one sucked. That one was bad for you. Your social is bad. So that's where the modifiers come in. Now, are those just for characteristic checks, or do they affect skill checks as well? If a skill is based off of dex, does your dex modifier go into
Well,
that?
it does talk about skill checks next, and I
So
see
hopefully we'll get into that.
stuff in there.
For a skill check, the traveler adds both their skill level and, if appropriate, the characteristic DM. There you go. The combination of skill and characteristics varies depending on the situation, as chosen by the referee. Shooting a gun would use the appropriate gun combat skill and your dex dice modifier. Repairing a damaged gun might use gun combat and education. Trying to work out what sort of gun caused a particular wound might cause gun combat and intelligence. Okay. Okay. I see. All right. So, unlike a lot of other games, it seems like the skills and the characteristics are not linked. It all depends on the situation.
I like, by the way, that's another thing I like. If you remember when we covered Degenesis, it did the same thing. It wasn't always just, well, you're using this ability, so you always have to use strength. Like, no, sometimes what you're doing is a little more dexterous or a little more enduring or whatever.
Mhm. If a traveler does not have any levels in a skill used in a check, they suffer DM -3 on the check for being unskilled. Okay, it doesn't say either way if your characteristic modifier is also in play. Like if I don't have a computer skill, and the skill normally would be computer plus intelligence, I would be just rolling. I'd be rolling the 2d6 -3, but do I get to add my intelligence modifier? It doesn't say yay or nay.
Off the cuff, I'd apply it, but I don't know.
I would too, but it doesn't say it.
Yeah.
To make a normal average skill check, traveler rolls 2d plus skill level plus characteristic DM plus any other relevant DMs and must get a total of 8 or more to succeed. With this, I would say it's leaning toward yes, your characteristic modifiers do augment this horrible -3. Okay, cool. Cool.
I like a little flexibility in rules where you as a or referee in this case, can run it one way and me as a referee can say, you know what, I'm not going to do that because I just, want it to be base -3. Let's move on. I would almost prefer that wasn't completely defined.
Understood. All right, calling for task checks. Often, if the travelers have the requisite skills, the referee can just assume they succeed. For example, if traveler is trying to find an informant in a city, you could keep calling for streetwise or carouse checks until they succeed, but that's dull. You'll have the traveler rolling dice until they can move on. However, if failure carries a consequence, say a failed check will result in travelers picking up a false rumor, then it's a good time to call for a skill check. Yeah, again, we already talked about that. If there is a consequence for failure, then a skill check is required. Like if you're looking for a contact and there is no consequence for failure, you're going to find them. Well, why make the roll?
Yeah,
That's
no
ridiculous.
time constraint, no consequence,
Yeah.
whatever.
You got all day. You can do it. Don't make the roll. But if looking for this particular contact gets people wary of you,
Yep.
and maybe someone tries to follow you if they find out what you're doing, then you would roll. And a failure would mean, okay, you also pulled a tail, stuff like that. I get it. Which characteristic that applies to a skill check will be obvious in most cases. Bouncing atop a wall is blatantly a dex, while
What?
using brute force to disable a mechanism is governed by strength. The main area of overlap is between intelligence and education. The former covers inspiration, improvisation, and pure reasoning, while the latter is for trained responses and known solutions. For example, a brilliant but unschooled mechanic might fix a ship using engineer and intelligence, while a trained mechanic might follow the procedure in the book using engineer and education. Some checks can be attempted with either characteristic, but no amount of education will help you deal with a totally unfamiliar problem, and no amount of intelligence will let a traveler know some piece of trivia or technical information unless they learned it beforehand. So it looks like it doesn't say it, but I think they're just scared to say it. The referee is the arbiter of what characteristic is linked to what skill for what situation.
I think that goes without saying. That's an obvious
answer.
It
doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Uh-oh.
No, it doesn't. Not anymore. It should, but not anymore. So I'm gonna go out and say that the referee is the arbiter on how skills and characteristics are linked depending on the use of the skill.
Always the referee is the arbiter of your game.
Exactly. Task difficulties. Okay, then now we're getting the difficulties. An average we already know is 8+. Great. Well, what are the other ones? Simple tasks are trivial for everyone. A simple task might be requesting weather data from a standard tourist computer system, ordering a meal in a language you know well, or sneaking up on a drugged guard. Simple tasks require a 2 or more to be rolled for the check, if indeed they are rolled at all. You can't. No, you can roll
with
less
a penalty.
Than a 2,
with the
because
penalty.
if you don't have the skill, you have a -3.
Don't roll. Don't roll those. Don't roll those.
If you don't have a skill.
Okay. No, I agree with you there.
Then just let this happen, referee. Come on. Easy. Okay. Tasks are trivial for a trained professional and simple for an amateur. An easy task might be hiking cross country for a few hours, holding a ship in perfectly level flight, or activating an unfamiliar device that has a clear and simple interface. Easy tasks require 4 or more. Okay. Routine tasks, that's a 6 or more.
I think those are backward. I think routine should be before easy, but that's quibbling.
Yeah. No, routine implies training.
I drive to work every day. That's a routine.
And you've done it 1,000 times.
You don't have to think about it. Yeah, because I have the driving skill. I have the Montgomery.
You've also taken the route, the same route, over and over and over again. A routine task is trivial for a trained professional and relatively easy even for an amateur. A routine task might be hitting a prone victim in melee, landing a ship in optimum conditions with computer assistance, translating a newspaper, and so on. Routine tasks require 6 or more. Average is 8 or more. Difficult task is 10 or more.
Notice it keeps going up by 2? It's weird.
A difficult task is tough even for a trained professional. Perhaps examples might be making an accurate shot in the middle of a ferocious storm, defending a client in court when they are clearly guilty. That's not difficult. That's average. Hacking into a secure computer network, or spotting the flash of sunlight reflecting off a sniper's scope. Difficult tasks require. Okay, all of these things here are like 90% of the hardest things the character is going to do fits under this moniker of difficult. I mean, seeing a sniper scope glint off of a sniper scope, that's like hero movie crap, man. I mean, it should be super hard. But no, we have very difficult. Hard for trained professional and nearly impossible for an amateur. Notice they don't give any examples because they can't
think of any.
They can't think of any that's harder than difficult. But they want the +2. Formidable.
I'm sure, well, as somebody already put in a comment here, and I might start bringing it up later, is I mean, if you play published adventures and so forth, it might say, hey, the character trying to do this, you're in an ion storm with ghosts trying to, suck your life from you or whatever, and you're trying to fix that J drive, that might be very difficult or formidable.
It could be. But in that area, you're going to have more than one person doing that.
You hope?
You hope, yeah. Formidable. Tasks are exceptionally hard. Again, the word usage, I'm with you now. The words that they use to define the difficulty of these tasks are suspect, such as performing surgery on an alien of radically different biology, hacking a military-grade computer network, disarming a terrorist bomb, or convincing a city of the superstitious natives that you are a peaceful trader and not a demon from the outer darkness when you do not speak a word of their language. Formidable tasks require 14 or more to be rolled on the check.
By the way, I laugh because as somebody who works for military IT, it's not formidable. You can move that one down to difficult.
Yeah. Impossible. Tasks require near miracles to pull off, such as reconstructing alien DNA, rebuilding a worldwide military-grade computer network from scratch, or flying a starship through the area. Okay, no. Filled with treacherous stellar phenomena in record-beating time. Impossible tasks require 16 or more to be rolled for the check. Okay.
And super mega impossible.
I'm looking for that.
Actually, no. If it says impossible, that should be improbable. Because if it says impossible,
you can't do it.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Exactly. That's my problem. The definitions of these are just awful. And here we go. We have a little chart here. Simple, easy, routine, average, difficult, very difficult, formidable, and nigh impossible.
Impossible is jumping from the Earth to the moon.
Yes.
I want to jump from the Earth to the moon. You can want to.
Yeah. But all I have to do is roll 16 or higher because that's impossible.
It's like the Terry Pratchett 1 in a million.
There you go. 1 in a million shots always make it.
Yep.
Boon and Bane. Okay, here we go.
Woo.
This is what I don't like. The task difficulty levels allow a referee to pre-plan the skill and characteristic checks travelers will need to succeed during an adventure. However, there will be more complications because the game is doing this on purpose. There will likely be situations that arise that will make things either easier or harder for the travelers. And rather than go up and down this chart,
which would make sense.
Which would make absolute sense. We're going to add another layer of complication for literally no reason.
Is this a new trend in gaming? Because of course, D&D 5's got the advantage, disadvantage stuff, and for like Free League, that's what Boon and Bane is, for Dragonbane. But you've done Call of Cthulhu, and that added Boon and Bane into the game. Yeah. A lot of games, I mean, even Tristat system has Boon and Bane. Instead of just changing the target number, has Boon and Bane says, we'll roll 4d6 and take the highest 2, things like that. It's like, why? Is this really a mechanic that people want? I mean, I like it, but not when there's already a nice simple thing in place.
Exactly. The rule for creating a game is make it as simple as possible while still working.
Mm.
This is a failure in that area. The task difficulty levels allow, we did that. Boon and Banes come in. What do? If a traveler has help, such as good tools, competent aids, or other beneficial circumstances, they receive a boon. This means they roll an extra die during a check and discard the lowest. Why? Just make it easier. Go down a level. That's it. You have good tools and someone helping you, go down 2 levels. How hard is this?
I blame BattleTech for this. And you might be like, what? How does that? Because 2nd edition Mech Warrior that came out like 1990, whatever-ish, had the hot shot, and everybody took the hot shot pilot. Why? Because you got to roll 3 dice when shooting a weapon and take the highest 2. I blame BattleTech.
There it is. If a traveler is hindered, such as poor tools, dimly lit environment, or other negative circumstances, they receive a bane. This means they roll an extra die during the check and discard the highest. A traveler can only be under the influence of 1 boon or bane during any one check. If they receive both a boon and a bane, they cancel out. At the same time, if they receive multiple boons or banes, they will only be subject to 1. Okay, so things can get as hard as you want. You only get 1 bane. Like, if you're doing a task, you only have 1 arm, you have no tools, it's in a rainstorm, and people are shooting at you, you only get 1 bane.
Yeah, but it's still, when you're talking 2D, well, now 3d6 in that case, take the lowest 2, that is a pretty big deal.
Yes, it is absolutely horrible. It is a crap show. This is an unnecessary mechanic, and if I play this game, I will never use it. Effect. For most situations, the only thing that needs to be determined is whether or not the traveler succeeds. Fair. If the traveler's total throw after applying all dice modifiers equals or exceeds the difficulty, they succeed. If it's less, they failed. Okay, threshold. Got it. Often, however, it is important to know how well the traveler did or how bad. To do this, subtract the target number from the die roll of the check, including any modifiers. This margin of success or failure is the effect that can be consulted on the effects result table. This is also used in combat to calculate damage. Okay, for example, if a traveler rolls a 4 and a 3 for an average check, then applies a DM plus 3 for a total of 10, their effect is 10 minus 8, 2. So your end result minus your threshold is your effect. Okay.
Something
Effect
about
result.
that didn't stick in my brain. I didn't.
You didn't get okay. So go ahead and roll 2d6 for an average roll. Do it now.
So
8 plus.
eight or better. I got a 10.
10. Okay. That means your effect result is 2. You were 2 over what you needed. Those 2 are superfluous. Those
Okay,
are
got
now
it.
here. There you go. So let's say you got a 2. So average success is 1 to 5. You succeed normally. If you got a 6 or more, that's an exceptional success. This chart is very biased against failure. There's a whole lot of stuff.
Well, it was written in 2022.
Yeah,
Not saying anything beyond that, but it was written in 2022.
Yeah. So this we have extra for failure than we have for success. Marginal success. Shut your mouth. It's a success. Shut your damn mouth, game. I did what you wanted. I got equal to or higher than an 8. That's a success. Not marginal. Do not demean my successes. Marginal failure. You almost succeeded, but didn't. And the referee may permit them, him or her, to scrape a success if they take a significant consequence. No.
I'd have to know what that means. Like, what is a significant consequence?
There's too many layers of nets before the player just hits the ground.
I agree.
Don't use this chart. It's unnecessary.
Does it say optional? Please tell me it says optional.
It's not optional. No.
Oh, well, it's optional in my game.
It's not in.
Where's Mark Miller when we need him? I want to play Real Traveler.
Exactly. Oppose checks. If 2 or more travelers are opposing one another directly in a task, or if a traveler is directly opposing another character, an opposed check is made. Both travelers or characters make their task checks as normal, with the winner being the one with the highest effect. Now, this one I get. If you are in an arm wrestling contest, the amount that you win by becomes important. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But in most tasks, it won't be. It's just success or fail.
Well, I can see some minor exceptions to that. Investigation, trying to get information. A success, as in I meet my target number of 8, means I got the information I wanted. However, if I roll really well, I could see, you know what, this is how I would run it, or I would have written it. I'm not trying to change the rules of the game, but how I would have made the rules of the game. But you actually made it for a difficult, 10 or more. You not only get this information, but I'm going to give you a little meaning behind it, or I'm going to give you a tidbit more information that you weren't thinking about, or something like that. So, you know, when you do like information gathering, I can actually see the level of success being meaningful. I just wouldn't want to parse it down to every point that you could possibly roll on 2D6.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. You don't need all that. Multiple tasks. A traveler can try to do 2 or more things at once, like firing a spacecraft's weapons while also flying it, or disarming a bomb while hiding from guards. For every extra thing the traveler is doing, the level of difficulty for each task is made 1 level harder. That makes sense. I get that. So an easy task becomes routine, very difficult becomes formidable. Fine. That's awesome. I get it.
Makes sense.
Time frame.
And it's simple, unlike so many of the other things.
Unlike banes and boons and marginal successes and marginal failures. Dude, shut up. Each task has a random time frame of 1 to 6 time units. Time unit. The unit depends on the task. Shooting someone or throwing a punch takes 1d seconds. It takes you 6 seconds to throw a punch? Really? Okay. Yeah, okay. No, you know what? I get it. That's fine. Shooting someone, I did that. While prepping an aircraft for flight can take 1d minutes. Looking for rumors in a street might take 1d hours. Repairing damaged component of ship may take 1d times 10 hours. Okay. Some sample timeframes are listed in the timeframes table. The referee can use these examples for their own checks and actions. Okay, this last paragraph here tells me that the referee is also now the final arbiter of how long a task takes to succeed or fail.
I'm wondering if that where it says shooting, punching, jumping is 1d seconds.
Yeah.
What does that D? Does that mean D actually mean that die?
Yes.
So
D6.
I could roll 6 seconds to shoot somebody.
And that is fair. Because if they're moving, you're really okay. No.
That's what I was going to say as well. Is like, you know, you didn't have the clear shot, or even if somebody's closer, you're weaving in and out. You know, there are things are happening. You're not just standing there back and forth like rock'em sock'em robots at each other. I get that. No, I agree. That there's no real 6 seconds might be a bit long, but you know what? You got one die. It's the common die to the game.
It's what it
Keep
is.
rolling it. It's good.
You know,
It's okay.
you don't want to
Yeah.
make it, 1D -3 minimum 1 just for funsies. No.
Right. Exactly.
We got shooting, punching, jumping, rerouting power, 1D times 10 seconds. Okay. Applying first aid, 1 minute. 10 minutes for complex tasks, 1 hour for building a shelter, moving through a wilderness, 4 hours for researching a problem, 10 hours for repairing damaged ship, 1 day for combing a city for a missing person. Okay. Going faster or slower. You can choose before the roll to move up or down 1 level on the time frames table. Okay. Moving up, reducing the time increment, inflicts DM -2 on your check. Moving down, increasing the time gives you a +2 on your check. Okay. So with this chart right here, let's say this thing you're doing, applying first aid, takes 1 minute. You don't have a minute.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a minute. I need to do it faster. You can do it in 1D times 10 seconds, but it's going to add 2 to your target number. Okay.
I'm with this 100%. I want to be very clear about that. I like this. Scroll back down, please.
Sorry, what?
Scroll down, please, to the next page. Right there. I don't like the chart. And here's why. I don't like it being that specific. I like it conceptually. Like, say, hey, if you don't have the amount of time, that raises the difficulty up. Or if you've got all the time in the world, that lowers the difficulty. I don't like a chart like this specifically because somebody's going to be, no, it should only be a -2, not a -1 or -3, whatever. Where I think that should be under the referee's purview.
Yep.
Like, this is a guideline, and I'm not against it as a guideline, but I wouldn't want to reference it like as a, no, it really should have been a -1 or -2 or whatever. Conceptually great. I just remove that chart.
Well, I think this chart is for task chains, but.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, good point. Good. I stand corrected on that.
Often, travelers will find themselves performing a series of interlinked tasks or working as a group. Finding a buyer for a cargo of illegal goods, for example, calls for a streetwise check to find a fence, then a broker to negotiate the price. The result of the streetwise check could conceivably influence the quality and competence of the fence, which will affect the broker check. Alternatively, when coming up with a plan to attack a fortress, the travelers could begin with a recon check to scope the place out, then a tactics check to find the weak spots, then stealth and electronics checks to get past the security system. The quality of information gleaned from the recon check will certainly have an impact on the tactics, and the tactics will have an impact on the stealth and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're doing that, if it's a task chain, then your success level in the previous task will increase your success possibility for the next task.
I like that. We in one of the other games I looked at a long time ago, they called it task momentum or something like that. And I've always liked this concept. I think that's good.
Yep, I like it too. That's nice. Oh, working together. Task chains usually assume that while travelers are working together, they are waiting for the results of one check in order to affect the next. However, there will be times when travelers are working at the same time on exactly the same task and will wish to combine their efforts. In these situations, the task chain rules can still be used, but with one traveler making the final check and the others making checks to add task chain modifiers. I need an example for that. I think I got it, but let's get an example. For example, Eric and Kathia are trying to force open a locked door with a smuggler's asteroid lair with brute strength. Eric is the strongest, strength 9, and so he puts his shoulder into the door, but fears he alone might not be enough. Kathia has strength 7 and helps. Kathia makes a strength check and consults the task chain table in order to provide a DM to Eric's strength check, which will determine whether the door is forced open or not. Oh, they're doing it at the same time, but we're resolving the helpers first to see if there's any benefit.
The helper fumbles, gets in your way, trips you, and you hit your head into the door.
Yeah, the helper screws up. You could easily get -1, -3, you know?
I see.
Yeah. So your helper better not be incompetent. Difficulty, Boon, Bane, and DMs. There are 3 factors that can affect a check in Traveler: task difficulty, boons and banes, and dice modifiers. However, all 3 are used in very specific circumstances, as referees should use the following principles when applying them. Difficulty. Before any other factors are taken into account, the referee should set the difficulty of a task based on how hard they believe the task should be without any exterior effects. Okay. Dice modifiers. In general, these should be regarded as being hardwired into the rules and only applied if they are listed in a traveler rulebook or supplement. So if your characteristic gives you a -2, +2, whatever, it just does it every time you roll something based on the characteristic. Got it. Boon and bane. If an exterior factor is influencing the task for better or worse, then a boon or bane is applied to the check. No, it's not. Making a phone call while hanging upside down from a spacecraft is a good example of a bane being applied. I don't think that's a good example of anything, let alone a bane being applied. It's a good example of being an idiot. But other than that,
Well, you still might fumble into success there.
right. Okay.
Or stumble, not fumble, but Jesus.
And now we're getting into the actual skills.
Can we look at just a couple to see how that they're written up in the book?
We're not going to go over a lot of them. As a matter of fact, I wish they had a chart, but they apparently don't.
Well, in alphabetical order, so I mean,
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Astrogation.
we need a flyer.
No, we'll get to flyer too. This skill is for plotting, the courses of starships and calculating accurate jumps. Okay. Plotting a course to a target world using a gas giant for a gravity slingshot, difficulty 10 plus, astrogation check, 1d times 10 minutes with education. Plotting a standard jump, easy, 4 plus, astrogation check, also 1d 10 minutes and education, with a DM minus equal to the jump distance.
We'll find out more about that in Starships, probably.
Probably so. That seems overly complicated again, but whatever.
No, it makes sense to me. Believe it or not, compared to Palladium, this is actually easy.
Yeah. But I know I get it. You know, the longer your jump, the harder it's going to be to calculate correctly. I get it. That tells people, you know, hey, we want to make easier jumps. Like, you know, come on. You don't need to shoot the moon here. All right.
Astrogation is also a term that Star Wars uses.
Yes. Let's see. Flyer. Here we go. The various specialties of this skill cover different types of flying vehicles. Flyers only work in an atmosphere. Vehicles that can leave the atmosphere, you have to use the pilot skill.
Oh, well, you know, I wish somebody would have told me that when we were making my character last week.
Yeah. See, that's another reason why I don't like character creation coming before the rules. Because you can't make an educated decision about what skills to take if you're not educated at all on the skills. So that's a pet peeve of mine. Ornithopter. No, don't fly an ornithopter. Stop.
Why?
It. Because.
Dude, come on, Da Vinci, man.
Yeah, that's great. No. Gun combat skill covers a variety of ranged weapons. See the combat chapter for details on using guns in combat. Archaic, energy, and slug. Isn't archaic slug the same?
No, archaic bows.
Blowpipes. Oh, bows and blowpipes. Okay. Got it. Okay. Firing a gun, average 8 plus. Gun combat check, 1d seconds, dex. Okay, that makes sense. Leadership skill is for directing, inspiring, and rallying allies and comrades. A traveler may make a leadership action in combat as detailed on page 74. We're going to get there. Shouting an order. Rallying shaken troops, difficulty 10.
That shouting and order thing. It's one of the things that Coriolis does. If you remember, the captain can actually influence roles, and I will tell you that in Coriolis, I think it's overpowered. I really do think it's an overpowered ability, just because of how that system works. I don't know if it would be here, so I'm interested in seeing how that turns out. But Jack of all trades, since I had that,
yeah, we're gonna read it. I saw it too. The Jack of all trades skill works differently to other skills. It reduces the unskilled penalty a traveler receives for not having the appropriate skill by 1 for every level. Oh my God. No wonder you can't learn this. It's so OP. Having this skill means you don't need other skills.
You know, I start wars for a living. I got to know how to get out of it.
Exactly. If you have Jack of all trades at rank 3, you have every skill at rank 0. That's the bottom line. You roll every skill as if you had rank 0. That's great. This thing is awesome. There is no benefit of having Jack of all trades at 0 or having it at 4 or higher. Yeah. Just Get
I mean,
until you get to 3.
but I can understand why that sentence was put in there because some people. So if I go 4, I actually get a +1 to no. It just removes your negatives. But
Yeah,
I
it just
understand why that's there.
removes the unskilled penalty. That's what it does. So that's awesome. That is a skill that you can't get. You have to roll in character creation. You have to find it.
Well, I'm glad
I know
something
why.
good came from my character creation.
Yeah, I know why, because that skill is the one ring of skills, man. This is the thing you want. That is it.
All right, I think we got an idea of those
Yeah,
skills.
we have an idea about skills now, and then we're gonna be done now. That is character creation and skills, because I thought it would go into character creation quite well. Next, we're going to look at combat, and combat, I'm hoping, is very efficient, very fast, very easy, because it is about 6 pages. So hopefully we're doing that. So let's check up some chat.
Oh, we got a few. I got a couple controversial ones in here too, but I know the timing of them. So, okay, my mouse. There we go. Oh, like Connor says, this is helpful for them as we make comments. Plus, it's fun to mock them. Yep.
Yeah. No, mock us all day.
Because somebody said earlier that this wasn't worth my time then because they script the character so bad. That's fine. Again, we're not doing a tutorial. If you want a tutorial, maybe we could do it in the future. If I have time, I would love to do an actual tutorial of character creation. You can go find my 10-minute introductions or my character creation videos. I have them out there for other games. This is literally, it says at the top of the screen up there, deep dives and read throughs. That's what we're doing. We're diving into it and we're reading through it.
It's not that we have expert knowledge and we are offering our largesse of knowledge to you. That's not what this is.
And yes, it is fun to mock us. We know.
Yes, I agree.
All right. This is what they're telling you. Most players. So this is about the specialties. Most players will never have more than one specialties, but if somehow you did, it's telling you that you don't add them together for the checks. To me, that seems to be common sense, but sometimes you do have to, put that in writing.
But what if I want just basic engineering at level 1? I don't want a specialty, or I don't want to get another specialty.
I'm sure you can't. I mean, I think that's the point.
No. The thing is, for the engineering thing, what it said was when you have engineering 0, you don't have a specialty, but you raise it to 1. Now you must choose a specialty and say you chose jump drive. And so you basically have 2 skills now, engineering 0 and engineering jump drive 1.
Yeah, engineering 0 for everything else.
When rolling for jump drives, it's 1. Everything else is 0. But to get another point to go from 1 to 2, you need to get another specialty.
I don't think it says you have to get another specialty.
I think it did.
No, that wouldn't make sense. Forcing you to get another specialty.
I'm entirely with you. That doesn't make sense, but that's pretty much how I read it. I think I went too far. Yeah. Nope. It's above prisoner. Post-career education. No. Where's the specialties? Where's the specialty? You son of a biscuit. No, I can't find it. Okay, it doesn't matter. But I
somebody correct us in the comments or chat. So
put in the comments or put it in chat. See if I'm right or wrong. It's just the way it is. What's next one?
Also from Jeremy. He has lots of things to say. Yes, get to use characteristics. You caught up to this, but he typed this in before you. I probably should have unstarted since you found it. But you do get to use the characteristic checks for the -3 is just for not having the skill.
Okay. I was hoping so.
Darthix, always stick to KISS when making a game. Now, it depends on what you're looking for in the game. There are some complicated games out there, and this is why I asked the question. I'm not complaining. I'm curious because we see this Boon, bane, advantage, disadvantage like everywhere now. It's like people are ham-fisting it into the games. I'm just curious if that is just a modern trend of gaming, especially when it's not needed. And this is a perfect example where it's not needed. Call of Cthulhu was too.
Yeah. Unnecessary complication is the death of games. Awful.
And the other thing is, going back to writing, I don't anymore, but I used to be a technical writer, and I hate when books are written in creative writing format. I hate it.
Yeah. It obfuscates the actual knowledge that you have to gain from the rules of the game. Star Trek Adventures was the worst offender. It's a novel
That you have to parse together the rules from reading
with rules sprinkled into a story. That's stupid.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Get rid of that. Changing the mechanics in play is something he's talking about again, the Boon Bane. I disagree with this comment, and I've got some examples. We're old AD&D 2nd edition guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you roll for combat to attack?
D20.
Okay. What do you roll to do an attribute check?
D20.
Okay. What do you do to pick pockets?
If you're a thief, it's percentage.
There you go. So I don't have a problem with changing like subsystems and so forth. Personally, I don't. It's part of the game. I have zero issue. In fact, I don't like games that only use one die ever, just because it's boring to me. Now, your mileage may vary. I get it if you want differently, but I don't mind the mechanics. I just don't like things tacked on that are unnecessary to be tacked on when you already have a mechanic that does it. Does that make sense? And I'm not busting Michael Connor's balls here. I'm just saying, generally speaking, like an extra mechanic doesn't bother me.
Yeah, the difficulty of the task going up and down, that's all you need. That's all you need. Environmental effects will raise or lower. Help people helping can just raise or lower. The Boon and the Bane, it's an unnecessary addition. It makes it clunkier for no reason.
Okay. All right, moving on. If I remember right, Boon is unique to
Mongoose.
Mongoose show. Is that what MGT means? I keep seeing Magic the Gathering or something. Like if I remember, Boon and Bane is unique. Is that for the Traveler versions? Is what I guess he's talking about.
If so, then Mongoose they laid an egg on that one.
I mean, I'm not against the Boon Bane, but then don't have the difficulty chart.
Yeah.
All right, let's just. So I can take 1d X minutes to throw a guaranteed punch. Yes. Why? Yes, you can, because if that person's standing there for 1 minute.
Is your opponent going to stay? Or is he going to get something to drink? Maybe go to the bathroom and come back when you're ready? I don't know, but technically, yes.
That's you standing over somebody you're about to pull the plug on in the hospital going,
all right.
I always wanted to do this.
I got to really gear up for this thing. I don't want to pull a Hemi. Come on. All right. Gotta limber up.
All right, 2 more. I've always used this method in our games. You roll high enough on one skill, then the related skill are made easier.
Yeah, and I've done that too. It's usually been me adding it in because a lot of games don't have that. But I like that. I like that. And
I don't have a hard and fast rule of like when I do it and when I don't. But I know my TMNT games that I ran in the past, I did it with the Palladium stuff. I can't tell you like when I said yes, it did count, and when it didn't count, and how much I gave. I think I just did it all off the cuff. But yeah, I conceptually I like it. I really do, because you're moving in that direction. Also, for lack of a better term, it gives you that momentum. I mean, this is what you're trying to do. You're building up successes. You're building up effort into that event. Why not let this success, to some degree, if you did a really good job, carry over into making the next attempt at least easier?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, wow, it's a book. Because I want to actually talk about this, because you and I actually differ in this. It's a book. You can flip through the skills and look them, go back to character creation. It's the beauty of having time and foreknowledge. Again, Heathen Dog really does have an issue with the character creation before, but I want to make this very clear. I've talked to a lot of people that have that issue. I personally don't give a crap, because I don't read a book like this. I don't start at page 1, except for when I'm doing one of these videos and just going, okay, well, that's page 1, page 2. It's a reference book to me. So I reference the section I need at the time. So I don't care if character creation's in the front or the back or in the middle, as long as it's in a meaningful location and all together. Looking at you, Riffs. As long as it's in a meaningful location and all together, I don't care where it is. But I know there are people who told me they will never buy my game when I finish it if I put character creation first. I've also had people tell me they'll never buy my game if character creation isn't first. Can't win. So go ahead, Heathen Dog, and tell your reason why.
Okay. The reason, if you have to choose skills, if you have to choose powers, if you have to choose knowledges before you understand what they are, setting up for failure. So why even put the character creation before that? Well, you can just flip later in the book. Yes, you can. Why are you making me? Why are you making me do that?
I think it's like I said, the reference book. I'm just used to it as a reference book. I'm used to looking up words in the dictionary. Yeah. I'm used to working.
Hey, if you have a physical copy of the book and you flip through pages, you can save pages, all that stuff. It's easy. But a lot of people are PDFs, and some PDFs like this one do not have proper chapter markers that you can just go to.
Okay. Yep.
And so there is no flipping. You have to, oh God, you have to do this. Okay, where is it? Where I missed it. Crap. Oh, where is it? You have to do that. And that
you can control F, I suppose, but
it is ridiculous. Yeah.
I get 700. Like, I'm looking for the word skills. It comes up 700 times.
Yeah,
down,
skills
down,
come
down,
up
down, down.
You're not gonna, that's not a meaningful search. All right. That's not gonna help you.
The reason I put that up though is because there is an argument for both sides of the fence. I personally don't give a crap either way as long as it's functional.
Yeah. Well, I like it after. Why make me the buyer of your book go through extra steps for no reason? I don't understand that. That was it?
Yeah. Yep. So like, subscribe, share, and tell Heathen Dog how wrong he is about having... No, just kidding. Let us know what you think about the skills section here. Do you have one more today, or are you done?
Yeah, no, one more.
Okay.
But this one's quick.
Oh, that's right, the combat one. Yep. All right, so you can see it on top of the screen. Look at that. He put that size that perfectly. You can see we will be talking about combat in Mongoose Traveler 2022 update. And do you want to tease anything, or are we good?
No, I can't tease anything. I don't know it.